Mr. Datar, if you could, hearty congratulations on the revised edition of the book. If you could talk a little bit about the book, what inspired you to take up this project?
Well, after I finished the second edition of my commentary on the Constitution in 2007, the publishers approached me to revise this book. They told me that there is nobody else who is taking up the job, and they were afraid that the work done by Palkhiwala would die a natural death, because if the book is not revised quickly, then it would become outdated, it would not have any market. So initially I was reluctant, but I was persuaded to take up this book, and I said I'll do it provided the central excise book is taken up by somebody else. And so I started the work in 2007. Except for 1 year where I had to write the Courtroom Genius, I worked on this book part-time for about 5 to 6 years. And finally we finished it in December. It went to press and now the edition has come out. And I'm quite satisfied with the good response it has received so far.
Some USPs of the book, I mean...
First we kept it to 2 volumes so that it doesn't become a multi-volume book. We decided to put all the rules, notifications, double taxation agreements into a DVD. So that doesn't take an extra 2-3 volumes, one part. Secondly, we retained the font size, the color combination, everything of the original book which is done by Palkhiwala. Thirdly, we have tried to ensure it is not a compendium of cases. At several places, we have criticized the Supreme Court judgment, the High Court judgments, whether they are for the SSC or against the SSC. We have given our new viewpoints. In transfer pricing, we have tried to add several new points, new interpretations. One handicap we have is that we don't include decisions of the tribunal. And with regard to permanent establishment, with regard to transfer pricing, the majority decisions are of the tribunal. And we are not able to quote those judgments as a matter of practice. So what we did was we took some important decisions of the tribunal and culled out the principles, and we have put it as it is submitted that. So the important decisions of the tribunal we could not do. That was a handicap we faced, but we have tried to overcome it in transfer pricing.
On quite a few interesting issues, you had your take yesterday on DTC, for example.
Yes. As I've written in the preface, I sincerely hope and pray that the DTC doesn't come about because you are not adding any value to the law. You're only adding to the misery of the taxpayer and the lawyers, because you are just going to keep the same provisions in a slightly different format. And it will again call for interpretation, why the comma is not here, why a word and is here, why a proviso is not here. So you'll be wasting a huge amount of productive time in interpreting. We got the Income Tax Act, and what I've mentioned is that whatever shortcomings are there in the Act, clean up the Income Tax Act. For example, fringe benefit, delete all the provisions. Many provisions are redundant, modify them, but don't have a wholesale replacement of the Act. It will serve no purpose. And if you see the DTC, it is supposed to simplify the law, it doesn't. And what guarantee is that the DTC will not be repeatedly amended like the Income Tax Act? So I don't know how we are going to be better off with the DTC.
You're having a plethora of judgments on international tax, mainly from tribunal, some from the High Court, fewer from the Supreme Court. But when you look at a lot of the international tax judgments that are coming up from the courts, you're happy with the quality of judgments on international tax? It's a new subject for many judges.
It's a new subject. Well, I would say overall I am happy. There are, of course, naturally there will be a few aberrations where there would not be an appreciation of the evidence or the appreciation of law as we would like it. But that can't be helped. I mean, it depends upon the judges, it depends upon the lawyers, it depends on the facts of that case. So, but it is really necessary that in the near future we have judges who know principles of international taxation who head these benches. And I was looking forward to at least ensuring that the National Judicial Academy conducts courses on international taxation for judges who could then head tax benches.
Last question on abolition of income tax. You know, there's been a big debate in the last 10-15 days. The main opposition party, BJP, considering a proposal that can you replace all central taxes except customs with a banking transaction tax. Is it feasible, Mr. Datar?
According to me, it is. It's more of a stunt rather than a reality. I don't know if anybody has done a study as to if you abolish income tax, you're losing 3 lakh crores or 3.5 lakh crores. How are you going to replace it? How are you going to have the Banking Transaction Tax Act? What I would recommend is before we do that, let there be a pilot project. You tax banking transactions, see how much you collect. and then decide to abolish the Income Tax Act. Also, you must also realize that in India, more than 70% of the transactions are outside the banking sector, unlike foreign countries. So, in vast parts of the country, there is less of banking sector. You'll only drive away people to more and more transactions outside the banking law. I would say instead of having these very strange ideas of abolishing income tax, abolishing central tax, it's better to improve the efficacy of the Income Tax Act, make taxes simpler, eliminate unnecessary exemptions. You can do a lot of housekeeping and make the Income Tax Act itself simpler, and which will generate more revenue.
One tax ruling, or one or three tax rulings you're looking forward to in this year? Big one.
One or two tax rulings which I'm looking forward to in this year. Well, I am certainly looking forward to the validity of the National Tax Tribunal if it comes up before a 5-judge bench. Then I am looking forward to certain important judgments on transfer pricing which are pending before the High Courts. I can't name a particular case, but on transfer pricing we'll require something. And I think if not in this year, but in the next 2 years, we'll have to have some clear understanding on the taxation of software. That's a very, very